In today's video, I'm sharing with you a quick list of mindful tips to help ease you into the new year, as well as my 2023 goals wrap up. Let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with the mindful tips because I feel like it's a lot more chill. Once I get into my 2023 goals and the wrap up and what have you, I feel like I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of goal setting. So let's start on a more chill end and then get into that. And this list is just a reiteration of a video that I did exactly 1 year ago. So I'm going to go pretty quickly through it. I'm not going to explain anything. If you want the explanations, I'll link that video down in the description box. I just don't want to be redundant. But the first thing is to prep now rather than in the new year. I think that kind of goes without saying. So that's what we're doing right now. The second thing is to reflect, which is exactly what we're doing in this video. I'm going to be reflecting on my 2023 goals. I highly encourage you to do the same before, after, during this video as well. The next thing is to visualize big. So when you're thinking about your goals for 2024, at least right now, think of big, vague terms. The next thing is to schedule quarterly reviews. You all know I love my personal quarterly reviews, so schedule those in now rather than later. We're doing all of this prep right now. And then the last thing, the most important thing, is to rest. This time, right now, while you're watching this, you should be resting, you should be recovering and resetting yourself. And I just want to reiterate how important that is. Rest is productive. I find myself feeling guilty even right now during my holiday break, where I feel like I need to be doing something or else I'm not spending my time well. But rest is so productive and important. So big reminder before we get into my 2023 goals, which I will do right now. I have my bullet journal here, and what I'm essentially going to do, by the way, this is the first time that I'm looking at this in quite a while, I'm just going to go into the front page, which I'm pretty sure I set up with you a year ago, and I have my 2023 goals all here, like the big important things that I wanted to work on throughout the entire year. And we're gonna see how well or how not well I did. I'm very curious as to how I did. I have a feeling I know I have some wins and losses, which is 100% normal, by the way. So let's see. The first thing is to go full time with Slow Morning Diaries. So you may have seen a video way back during my birthday time. That video shockingly did very well, where I talked about where I didn't necessarily feel like I needed to go full-time with Slow Morning Diaries anymore. Kind of had like a change in perspective, and I get into it in that video if you're interested in hearing more about that. But I did not go full-time with Slow Morning Diaries this year, and I have a feeling that's not going to be a big goal of mine in the new year. That might be shocking for longtime viewers of this channel, but we'll see. The next thing is to start my podcast. So that's 100% a success. I started my podcast with Ian in the end of August, the last week of August in 2023. It's called Live or Alone Podcast. It's a horror media podcast that I do with my husband, and it's so much fun. It has been such an incredible experience. By the way, at the time of me recording this video, we are being sent to Podfest, which is like this huge expo for podcasters. We're literally being sent there, and we've only been doing this for about 4 months at the time of me recording this. So big things are happening, and we are so immensely grateful. It has been an incredible 4 months, even though there has been like a whole year plus in the behind the scenes process. It's just been so much fun. So big success there. The next thing is daily body movement. That is definitely a success. When I'm not on my walking pad during the weekdays, by the way, I'm on that every single day, Monday to Friday. I am getting out, I'm going on hikes, I'm going on walks, I am exercising with Ian. We have like a little mini gym going on in the basement. So daily body movement has become just ritual for us, and I couldn't be more happier with that lifestyle change, because there was a time in my life where for years, especially in the peak of COVID, where I just wasn't moving my body, period. So I am so glad that that is a success. The next thing is more whole foods meals. And I feel like in the beginning half of the year, I wasn't doing so well on this goal. But now in the latter half of the year, I've really embraced that. And I feel like that's a success for me, because it's definitely more than the first half of this year. It's definitely more than the previous year. So I consider that a success, and I just feel like this is one of those goals that can be continuously ebbing and flowing, if that makes sense. So I think my measurement for success there is just, how do I feel within myself and the way that I have been cooking for the house and stuff like that. And I feel pretty confident. So I call that a success as well. The next thing is to clear up my skin. So there's a long story. There's a long story that I don't know. I don't know if I should say it, but I had a tumultuous experience with my dermatologist this year, and I didn't realize that I was kind of being duped. Is that the right word? I was kind of being fooled or being played along the entire time, and I didn't notice this until the very end of the year, until November, when I went to see my general practitioner doctor. So didn't have a great experience with my dermatologist, which reflected in my skin not being the way that I wanted it to go throughout this year. I finally invested in going to see a dermatologist this year, and it didn't really work out for me, but lesson learned. And so I feel like this is a goal that it kind of improved. You can probably see it, but I'm wearing makeup now. It kind of improved in the last couple of months, but it's definitely a goal that I need to work even harder on next year now that I know better, if that makes sense. Let me know if you're interested in a story time on that. It was such an experience. But anyway, the next thing is to start the kitchen and bedroom. So this is like a half complete goal. I definitely started on a lot of kitchen projects. By the way, this is just like home decor projects, renovations type of stuff. I wouldn't say renovations, that's a big word. We're not really renovating right now, but we started on the kitchen. I kind of completed one half of the kitchen, which is like the dining area. You have seen it throughout the year. I got kind of like a credenza situation going on, and then we have the bar cart with a record player. I've done a lot of tours in many of my videos, so you know what it looks like. You also see it on my Instagram and stuff. So that's pretty much complete. I think the only thing that's kind of missing from that side is that art piece that I am going to be working on in the new year. But I did a lot of work there in the kitchen. The other half of the kitchen, that's another story. But I didn't do anything in the bedroom at all. I ended up investing in other projects around the house that kind of took away from what I wanted to do in the bedroom. But I'm okay with it because the bedroom is kind of like my lowest priority. I feel like Ian and I literally just like drop down and sleep in that room. So it's not a huge priority for me to fix that room up before any of the other rooms. So I'm okay with this goal being like a 50-50. And I'm really, really happy with the way the kitchen is looking right now. Okay, the next thing is the backyard garden. We all know this was a huge success. We almost put this on the back burner this year. We weren't going to get a greenhouse. We weren't going to do anything with the backyard. And then suddenly when spring came around, we decided to just commit. And boy, did we commit. So I got the greenhouse, first of all. That was a huge, huge thing that I didn't think that I was even going to end up doing. I really thought that I was giving up on that project. So we got the greenhouse, we fixed up the raised beds, we had to unfortunately cut down a tree, but we kind of did a lot of rearranging in the gardening area of the backyard, and it's kind of set up exactly the way that I want to have it be, just period. So big success there, a surprise to be honest with you, because I thought I was just going to drop this goal at the beginning of the year, and it ended up being one that I absolutely completed. I'm so excited for like next year, but let me hold my horses there. The next thing is money to my savings account each month. This is a success, y'all. I almost slipped up in November because I was buying holiday gifts, but I put some money into my savings account every single month of this year. Something that I have not done since I was living in an apartment in New York City trying to save up to purchase this house. So very proud of myself there. I'm just proud of myself that I put some savings down. It's harder more than ever these days to be able to do that. So I'm very grateful that I have that. The next thing, and I'm almost at the end of this, is to read one book a month. So I was doing really well with this in the beginning of the year because I was reading kind of like easy to flip through, relatively short, like 300-page type of books every single month, and I was consistently reading 10 to 15 minutes every single morning in order to get to that goal. Very consistently, I did really well for about 5-6 months. Then things started to drop off when I started traveling for, summer vacation type of stuff. I started picking up books that were a little bit bigger, a little bit slower for me to get through. And then towards the end of the year, I really, really took my time with some books that I was reading. As you all know from a couple videos that I've recently posted, I'm reading The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, and that's a big boy. It's like 600 to 800 pages. I don't read books that big. I'm usually a 200, 300 page gal, so I'm really just leaning into the indulgence of reading right now, and I'm okay with that. I will say that a 70% success rate there is significantly better than what I did in 2022, because I think in 2022 I read 2 or 3 books total for the entire year, and one of those was a short 100-page book. So I'm still happy that I got about 70% there. The thing is with these goals, and I shouldn't wrap it up here because I still have one more, but the thing is with these goals is that if you're happy with them, if they're not 100%, but you're happy with what you have done, what progress that you've made with them throughout the year, then that's 100% valid, right? Anyway, speaking of, the last one, which is a complete flop, is one art piece a month. What was I thinking that that was doable? A whole entire art piece in 1 month? It took me 2 to 3 weeks to do one piece, which I guess kind of makes sense, but that was me like really harping on it and making sure that I got it done. I definitely didn't do one art piece a month. Long story short, I think I did 2 art pieces for the year. And you know what? I have come to learn, especially in the latter half of this year after my birthday, and I did a lot of reflection at that time of the year, is that I don't think I should be putting goals on something such as art. And maybe this is something that I can reflect on my reading goals as well. But there are some things that you shouldn't put measurables on and kind of just go with your feelings, with your creative flows. As we all know, I've definitely been not struggling, but I've definitely been going in and out of my creative flows a lot more right now. So perhaps this was a learning lesson in that I shouldn't put a goal on something such as that, and that's 100% fine, and it's almost freeing in a sense, if that makes sense. So while a lot of these goals were kind of like, you have very specific measurables, some of them don't need to have measurables. It's fine if you don't do 12 art pieces in a year. I'm actually laughing at myself thinking about the fact that I thought that that was doable. It's actually extremely hard to work on a piece and put all of your love, hard work, and all of that stuff into a piece. So I don't know. I'm just wild. You all know I'm super, super ambitious when it comes to goals, but yeah, this is a reality check. This is a lesson learned, but also a really, really great way to kind of acknowledge all that I have done this year. I can honestly go through this entire bullet journal and look at each kind of like month, where I do monthly wrap-ups, by the way. I do monthly reflections where I do top 3 accomplishments, my feelings about long-term goals, which is the stuff that I just went through, my focus for the following month, upcoming challenges, how to overcome upcoming challenges, and then some other like tracker type stuff. Excuse me, sorry. So I can definitely flip through this journal and just get into even more details of all of the things that I've done. But just looking at this very simple list right here, I can tell you, I have done so much in this year. I feel like I've done 2 years worth of things this year. And I will say this was a huge, huge help. Having this journal, having the monthly reflections, having the quarterly reviews, all of those things were so immensely helpful. So having tools like this is great to have. With that being said, it is also important to rest. It is also important to learn from the things that you haven't been able to accomplish, and perhaps that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's actually a perfect learning experience and something to take note of into the following years and future years, where you should perhaps show yourself a little bit more grace and embrace a little bit more of that slow living in between all of the big things that you want to get done, things like that. I just think that is overall a good thing to do all of the things that I talked about in the beginning of this video, which includes reflecting on your year's goals and all of the things that you've done. They don't have to be as intense as me, by the way. I am far too ambitious, so I'm probably not setting a good example in the slow living world by having such ambitious goals, but I promise you in 2024, I am definitely going to set the bar back a little bit, and that's a good thing. I'm saying that in a positive way. I'm definitely going to try to scale back and not be as ambitious and just kind of focus and fine tune into just maybe a handful instead of 2 handfuls of goals. But you will see that in next week's video. I hope this video was insightful, helpful. Please let me know if you have any thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from y'all. And I would also love to hear about your 2023 goals, whether you've made some great accomplishments, maybe you've had some setbacks that taught you some lessons. I love to hear it. If you feel comfortable saying it in the comments, please do. But if not, you can always DM me. But stay tuned for next week. We're going to be talking about 2024. I won't get too intense in that video, I promise. But I'll talk to you then.